Hey there everyone! Welcome back to another exciting video for the Shibarium community and its partners. I'm Season Shib, and my mission is to spread knowledge and positivity within the Shibarium ecosystem. This video is the 38th of All X Space Weekly DAO Update series. This X Space was held October 10th, 2024.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the K9 Finance Weekly DAO Update Spaces, episode 38, the best community update spaces on X and home of the #1 validator on the Shibarium L2 network, brought to you by Shiba Inu. Hello and good day to you. I am Pulse Digital. I am co-hosting and hosting from the K9 account here. Remember, I am not K9 Finance. I am one of the DAO members just like you, and I get to do the show today along with all the speakers who I'm going to bring up for you to do our weekly DAO update show. If you have been to this, then you know how this goes. We've done this 38 times in a row. It's going to be just like that, baby. If you haven't been here before, you're in for a ride. Hi, they let me run this thing. So let me tell you what we're doing. We're approving speakers. People are going to come up. They're going to hit the request button. So if you're listening to the recording, that's what's going on right now. They're going to fill in the speaker spots. Other people who are here who are not going to be speakers are writing comments right now. In the bottom right corner, there's a comment section. People are down there right now. They're telling me their hopes, their dreams, their wishes. They're sharing their memes and the contract addresses of the things they want me to ape into. That's how comment sections work. So please go do that if you're getting here just now. Some of them are also sharing the spaces on their timelines and their DMs. They're letting people know that K9 Finance is live and that you don't want to miss the show. And last is the emojis. I've seen a few. You can continue to press those throughout the show. It helps me and Buzz and the boys know that you are hearing things, that you're enjoying the show, you're emotionally engaged. So without further ado, as I said, I'm Pulse Digital. I'm here hosting the thing, but I've got a panel of people here. The first person we always talk to every week is Buzz, because it's been 7 days since we heard from him. I know everybody's always excited, so without further ado, Buzz, how are you?
Hey Shane, how's it going? Another busy week. Heads are kind of down. We're working on a lot of items. So one namely being the dashboard, analytics dashboard that I think we talked about last week. Quite a bit. That's going to be giving a lot of information in semi-real time on exactly what's happening with the Bone Crusher product. So you'll be able to see things like leaderboards, revenue, expenses, things like that for the DAO product. And a lot of that is taking up a lot of time. So just a lot of building, heads down, and putting together some plans for growth as well at the same time.
So you were quiet this week. If those of you who are fully engaged in K9 and deeply embedded would have noticed that you were not necessarily as present in the Telegram. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing or a good thing. It's just more of a news note. Can you speak to why is that what you were doing this week?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, generally when we're quiet, it means that we're busy and there's a task that we're on about. But I do say this quite a bit is that there's only so much we can say in a Telegram, right? And if we're kind of together coming to these weekly DAO spaces and then having the community come up and ask questions, that's often more productive than spending all day in Telegram. So while I try to go into Telegram daily and be answering questions, the best time to get a fully thought out answer or answer to a more in-depth question is definitely showing up to spaces like these. And I think now that, especially now that we have the product live, there'll be more opportunity for community members to raise their hand, or maybe some community members want to take it upon themselves to kind of aggregate FAQs over the week or questions that people have had over the week. Like, I'm happy to do rapid fire Q&A, but this is definitely the most productive time to get Q&A. Coming up here and talking about it verbally, you're going to get a much better, more sophisticated answer than just going into Telegram and typing in the midst of working on some cool stuff.
That's exactly why I mentioned this, is because there could be a system by which people are waiting until Thursday. If you've got something you guys want to talk about and you can be here, great. If you can't, you need to be writing it into Telegrams. You need to be letting the administrators know so we can get it somehow back to you, and then Buzz can rapid fire through these things, because it is better just to put them all together. And there are so many things that are a better verbal answer for so many reasons. Text, you can lose nuance, you can lose tonality, and specifically because of the way that these subjects go, you need that longer explanation. So for those of you you that haven't heard from him, or if there was something you were trying to tag him in this week that was meaningful, make sure you start thinking about aiming for Thursdays, pulling up at the show, writing a question, using the forum. Those are all options you have. Forum.k9finance.com. Funk, I saw you unmuted, man. How are you doing today?
Hey, good. I just wanted to point out something Buzz already said that makes me feel attacked, which is that hanging out in Telegram all day is not a good thing. No, I'm just obviously joking, but I obviously love Telegram, and it's where I like to live. But yeah, no funny stuff there, man. I'm doing really, really good. How are you?
Doing well, man. I'm excited to be here today, and we've got a lot of little updates. I know you've got a bunch of stuff coming for us too. Buzz, you mentioned the dashboard being the main thing you were working on. We did talk about that last week. I don't want to skip over the number one thing that I started with and that I titled the whole show with. You open with the dashboard, but man, we got to talk about validation, right? We got to talk about that number one spot, right? Can we talk about that?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's... The marketing team was really celebrating yesterday because of how well that tweet performed. They may have found it strange that I didn't even really react all that much to us to K9 becoming the number one validator, because I mean, I've kind of said it from day one. Like what's the reason why K9 wouldn't be the top validator? Like, you can delegate your bone to a validator, retain that liquidity, and you can earn more. It's the definition of having your cake and eating it too. So to take 3 weeks is impressive for sure, but I think we can go even higher. I think it was very much expected that we would become the largest validator. It's certainly something to celebrate. I'm always told to celebrate even these small moments, and being the biggest validator is nothing to scoff at. It's a step in the right direction, but certainly a long ways to go. It's an industry standard. It's kind of where we want to be, and just in Shibarium in general right now, there's a low participation across validators in general if you compare Shibarium to other L2s. So we need to get more members of the community participating, and not just participating in liquid staking with K9, but participating in securing the network in general. So you don't have to do liquid staking to secure the network, but you can delegate to any validator. And then if you are kind of going down that path of using your bone to delegate to a validator, ask yourself, and I actually had a very good conversation this morning with one of our whales who was asking, hey Buzz, like, can you explain the difference in the risk profile if I'm to delegate to a normal validator or I'm to use liquid staking? And we had a good discussion about how both are using smart contracts, both have their inherent risks, but with one you're earning 2.4%, and with the other for using a few more contracts and doing a few more things and participating in that liquid staking, you're earning over 25%. So I kind of encouraged him to make his own analysis on, do they think that risk is worth it for themselves? But I gave my opinion that if it were my bone and I was the one doing the action, that I would think that risk is worth the squeeze, so to speak. So we had a good conversation about that today, but it is great to celebrate that we're now the largest validator on Shibarium.
I'm glad you wrapped up, because I'm back in the train all the way up. You guys, I want to show you what an athlete's mindset sounds like, because close your eyes as I paint a picture. I asked Buzz as he came in from winning the Super Bowl. He's got his pads on. He's taking his helmet off. He's behind the lectern basically at an ESPN conference, and we're all down there in the audience like, Buzz, how are you feeling? Buzz, what's it like to win the game? Buzz, big game, number one. And he's like, Shane, go ahead. And I'm like, Buzz, you're the number one validator on Shibarium. You finally made it. What's it feel like? And he's like, well, there was never a doubt in my mind that we'd be number one. Like, it's not something that we didn't expect. It's something we knew was going to come. What I'm really focused on is 2 or 3. A champion's made from a team of people. Like, he 100% hit you with the post-game speech, because he just talked about how cool everyone else was. What getting the big championship is not a big accomplishment. He even called it a small feat. He even laughed at it. I love so much of what you just said, because you weren't diminutive, but you sure as hell made it seem like you had bigger expectations than just the number one spot. But it sounded to me like I was watching it play out like an ESPN clip in my mind. Funk, did you hear how quick he accepted it and then kind of set the trophy down and started talking about how important building for next season was?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, being a really strong engineer and a strong, just a leader in general, Buzz is obviously always future oriented, and what are you going to do? Rest on your laurels and just be like, yeah, that was it, we did it, game over. At the end of the day, there's still a lot of work to be done, both in terms of improving canine holders, acquiring new bone people to delegate their bone to our validator. I mean, look, the supply of bone is 25 million, right? So, or 250 million rather, and we've got about 4. I mean, can we get to 10% of the supply? If we could get to 10% of all of the supply of bone, 25 million, in our validator at the end of the next quarter year, you measure you measure things in years and seasons and not in days, to take your sports analogy and things like that. So one championship does not make an amazing great athlete necessarily. There's been lots of bad or subpar athletes that were on championship teams, but nonetheless, the future is the goal, and there's still so much bone out there. There's still so many more people to educate about that, and then there's still so much else that we have coming in store as well for canines. So still a lot of work to be done, and I know that the community is going to be, it's just the nature of cryptocurrency and DeFi is that the community is always clamoring for the next thing. So that's kind of your role as a leader of an organization. And obviously, Buzz isn't being called the leader, but he is a influential person and founder of K9.
So when we think about what would be goals then, Buzz, are there measurable numbers that if we're the number one validator, that's a measurable thing? Is there a number that you were looking at? Funk's talking about 10% of bone. What do you think as far as goal setting? Have you got something that's bounced around in your head?
Well, I think in terms of goal setting, it's kind of this weird dichotomy where it's like a build it and they will come atmosphere, but we've been able to create this partnership directly with Shibarium and with Shib, and the goal from the start was to create a piece of technology that would bring Shibarium the proper tools to bring their validator participation and of course liquid staking to an industry standard. And the industry standard is actually about 30% of your native token being locked up using liquid staking. And that can bring a significant amount of DeFi activity. But when you look into the psychology of why do other chains like Ethereum or like Polygon, why do they have that 30% participation? And it's not just because that technology exists. And the technology just exists there to use liquid staking. It's because there are so many other great products being built in that ecosystem that are integrating the liquid staking token. So, for example, perpetuals. People want to sort of add more leverage to their perps where they can delegate to liquid staking and then use it in perpetuals. People want to earn while buying NFTs. So it's really a long game of not just the liquid staking provider. So for example, Lido is not the one going out and building all of these secondary products, but Lido does have many DAO members and core contributors that are working and preparing the right documentation and working with partners and giving ideas on things that can be made. And that in turn drives more demand for people to use liquid staking as a whole. And liquid staking as a whole just really elevates the liquidity, the TVL, DeFi activity, and everything that's going on the chain. But it is this circular, all hands on deck sort of effort that allow a liquid staking and a chain to reach those industry standard metrics of 30%. But to fully answer your question, that 30% validator and liquid staking participation is the goal that we had in mind, not as the goal for K9 to accomplish alone, but as the goal to accomplish as a chain and as a Shib Army community.
such a big deal to be focused on all these things. I'm looking through the Q3 update posts because there are so many things on there. I had to zoom in, which is up in the pin posts. If you guys haven't already looked up there, the Q3 update pin post. Can you go through some of the things that are on there, because the validator is part of that? But there's a huge list of things. I'd like to give you ample time to kind of touch on each one of those as you cross them off and what they all meant along the way.
Yeah, for sure. While I'm talking, I know that Shima is also in the audience as well, and while he and I did some really good brainstorming on exactly what the dashboard would be, he admittedly has been doing a lot of the nitty-gritty with BigQuery and the data cleansing. So I do want to give him his moment to shine and with the hard work that he's been doing. I usually just get to take the charm and all of the love for these products getting built, but Shima is the one doing most of the nitty-gritty work there. But in regards to the Q3 update, so one of my favorite parts of this post here is just that we've actually finished our Q4 roadmap a couple weeks ago. So the Q4 roadmap was the V2 of the product. So V2 of the product meant that we are not the only validator, and that other validators can plug in to the K9 system to benefit from liquid staking. And we have the ability to do that right now in the administration panel of the product. So the administration panel is controlled by the multi-sig for K9, and other validators can plug in and also take advantage of liquid staking themselves by adhering to the rules of how K9 operates. So that's already done. What we can't do is we cannot add other validators without the approval of the Shib.io team. So the only approval of a validator is done through their processes. But from a tech perspective, we're certainly done all of that. It's all ready to go. And just kind of scrolling through here, like another personal highlight of mine from Q3 was of course ETH Toronto. That was an awesome time for our community to get together and also have another first, where we had the first ever dog to speak at a crypto conference. We also, that same week, got onto our first tier 1 exchange, which was Gate.io. And when you go through this list in general, you just see and start to compare K9 to some of the other projects that you may be a part of, and ask yourself, hey, is this community that I'm comparing to K9, are they getting this much stuff done? I think the retrospective style of content like this is incredible to see how much work is actually getting done, not just by the development team, but the marketing team, the ops team, and the community in general, and the mods. Like, some things that aren't in here is just the amount of raids that are done on a weekly basis. I see Frank here and Size and Shib and many others that are helping to spearhead these. It truly is a community effort. And then when you look at it, and like you said, Shane, you have to zoom in. There's just so much that gets done in a 3-month period, and just happy to feel as though we're really ahead of the game.
One of those spots goes out to everybody that's in here right now for 38 of Unbroken X spaces. If you make it to these spaces, you know how the team works, baby. Whether it's here on X, on Telegram, in any of the other places, in the foreign language side, the marketing side, the development side, K9's a slapper, man. They've got people assembled here that are working and they're doing it. So I appreciate that post too, for so many reasons, because it highlights one of the things I've almost had verbal fights in the last 2 weeks trying to describe what a DAO is to people, because it's just so misunderstood what it is to have like so many arms working towards the same goal. And that post would not have been possible were it just Buzz. And I'm not saying that to shame Buzz. I'm pointing out how many other people are doing this. Like, we brought Shima up, and Funk is here, and Crimson's been here, and Daisy and Turtle, and all these other people, like you mentioned, Frank, and all the mods and stuff, man. It is a post that does not truly do justice to what it has taken to accomplish. And like you said, it's a full list of what's done for the year ahead of schedule. So very cool. We did get Shima up here, Buzz, if you want to cut in and let him in. If we are going to talk to Shima, I'd ask everyone on the Telegram to please use the Shima emojis in the chat and give him all the power we possibly can. Shima, I'm so excited. You know, it's a bullish rule when you make it on Spaces. It's always a green day, a bullish day when you're here, man.
Thanks so much for the love. Going to make me blush over here. I'm just looking at this recap, and it's actually, I've sort of had this reflection with Buzz and Turtle, and it's so hard to sometimes appreciate everything we've done, because the second one task is done, it's like, okay, here's what's the next priority, and we're always just shuffling tasks based on what's the most pressing one at the moment, and it feels like it's a never-ending list. But just looking back and being like, wow, we've really been constantly shipping and constantly delivering and over-delivering a lot of the time, and it's just I'm super impressed. It's like we're often grouped in with the meme coins, you know, because we're built on top of a meme, but SHIB is so much more than a meme right now, and it's still taking the general society time to sort of realize that and appreciate that. But K9, even though it's built on top of a meme, it never really was a meme. It's pure, like, strict utility. We're building cool stuff, and I don't know, it's good to have this moment to be forced to reflect on everything we're doing, and I don't know, I take a lot of pride in what we're doing here. It's really, really freaking cool.
You do sound a little misty-eyed about it. I can hear your voice, man. What does it mean to you? Because Buzz just went over that post and stuff, looking at that long list. Like I said, you need a magnifying glass. What's it feel like to look at that list?
Yeah, honestly, I guess just super, super proud of the entire team, and just thrilled that I got to be a part of this journey. I think what really draws me to crypto and entrepreneurship and, you know, working in cutting edge tech is that idea of building cool things that have a real impact and change the world, instead of just being a little cog in the machine. Like, I want to help build the machine, I guess. That sounds a little too anti-decentralization, but yeah, I'm just thrilled and just so grateful that through sort of fate and coincidence, this team came together, because in all my past jobs, working in startups and big corporations, and I've worked on a lot of different teams and never had a team that has such a good synergy as the one here. So I'm just super grateful, and I love working with everyone here, and I'm excited to see all the future things that we're going to be able to bring to you guys. And you know what? I think a big part of it is our cheerleaders. Actually, I think I respond really well to positive reinforcement. But like the DAO community, just a huge shout out to all you guys for, you know, being such a strong and supportive community. Like I said, you know, the rest of the world, they're a little slower to catching up, that this isn't just a meme, and Shibarium is something to be taken seriously, and K9 is something to be taken seriously. But the fact that our core members get that and understand that and are here and just always the nicest things to say, I'm sort of thrilled to be working for you guys. And sort of, if I'm going to be pivoting over to the data side of the discussion, like Buzz mentioned, kind of brainstorming all the different ideas for dashboards and different kinds of views that we want to be able to have into our data. And I think Buzz's enthusiasm for getting to analyze this data. Data is sort of my second love after blockchain. And I've worked a lot of my career in sort of building data pipelines and feeding AI systems. So it's often a job that goes sort of unappreciated. Everyone wants to see what a cool model's doing, but the preparation of the data and, you know, data-driven decision-making and gaining insights out of data, I just love that there's someone else who's kind of as excited and nerdy, ready to nerd out over the data as I am. So just Buzz's excitement over being able to kind of ingest all of the blockchain data from Shibarium and be able to run queries on that and build charts. It really, really gets me excited to, you know, wake up every day and do the work that I'm doing. So yeah, I was sort of missed the first part of the post, but I guess if kind of describe what's going on is I'm sure a lot of people here are familiar with Dune dashboards in crypto. It's kind of become the main platform. Dune has data sets for a lot of the big blockchains, even starting to branch out beyond just EVM chains. And they have their own sort of query language for working with these big data sets. Because, you know, when you're running normal database queries, you need special databases basically to manage the volume of data. Big data was a really trendy term, you know, 5 years ago. Everything's almost big data now, so no one really thinks about it. But there's a lot of infrastructure and technical things under the hood, and Dune's done a really good job building their own query engine there. But Google has their own competitor to it called BigQuery. That's more of a generalized big data warehousing and analytics platform. It's sort of a competitor to Apache Spark, if anyone's familiar with the data space, but just kind of splitting up data analysis over scaling it across multiple VMs and then reconsolidating data. Anyway, so because we have everything set up in Google Cloud and we're running our own nodes and have all this data stored in our nodes, I built a sort of ETL pipeline that takes all of the data from our Sentry node and puts it into Google BigQuery tables so that we can start, we basically have an index that you can use SQL to query for all of Shibarium's blockchain data. And we're going to be making these Google data sets public so anyone else can go in and run their own queries on all of the Shibarium blockchain data. And we're going to keep them, live updating to keep the latest blockchain data being ingested into those tables and making that public. And then we're also going to be taking, just a subset of that data. We're not going to build this entirely for Dune, but copying anything K9 related over into Dune Analytics. So Dune, they're indexing Ethereum blockchain, but they don't have Shibarium data. And if we want to build charts to show anything related to our platform being used, we need to basically take all of that data from our BigQuery data set and move it over to Dune. And then we'll be able to have just a nice unified place for all of our dashboards that'll show just everything that's happening in the platform, both on the Ethereum side of things and the Shibarium side of things. So this is really me nerding out. This is like my one of my bread and butter from before the Web3 world. I love working with big data. So it's just been a really sort of fun project to build this pipeline to make sure that we're indexing all of the data and taking advantage of the infrastructure we already have set up, and then making it open source and making it available to the public for free, because I think that's a big part of what crypto's about, is like why would we hoard this data to ourselves when other people can get use out of it? I think it's good to just share that with the world.
So what I hear there, and I appreciate all of that, is that the K9 Finance DAO has made Shima feel comfortable to be that nerd, to be that guy, to build this thing for us, to help us. And he just mentioned how important it's been to have the positive sentiment and feedback. And I can appreciate that he said that out loud, because community sentiment affects your developers, you guys. It's important to maintain these positive attitudes, because if that's what's going to uplift Shima, and then Shima's going to decide to work on these products with that kind of sentiment, if he feels cared for, safe in this place to work on these things, you're going to get better software that's used by more people, and eventually you get more reach. And I know it's not like the sexy explosive marketing, but damn it, it's important. And I love hearing you say that you feel so comfortable to do that. Buzz, it's got to feel good hearing a developer say that they're that like cozy, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I get to hear Shima like this all the time, but it's nice to hear Shima be able to nerd out in public as well.
Yeah, we got to get more of it. That's why we actually have to limit ourselves. It's actually too bullish for me. We have to have small injections. I have to limit myself, moderation and everything. Shima, this is such a good topic, and I know I would love to have you nerd out. This is something that what we should do is this would be like a great whale chat VC. Because we have a whale chat at K9 Finance. Did you know that? You can join the whale chat by DMing Turtle right now in the main chat. If you have enough tokens, which I believe it's 400 million tokens or more, you could be a part of that, and you could get access to things like a potential Shima VC in the whale chat, which he has definitely not confirmed, but I'm never going to stop talking about now because it seems like a good idea. And I got a thumbs up from Buzz, so now he's in trouble. We'll work on that. In the meantime, we're coming up on the halfway point. We've been here for about 30 minutes, you guys. If you haven't been here the whole time and you haven't left a comment yet, please stop by the comment section. I need more comments down there about what you're doing, what's going on, what brings you to K9, what you enjoy about the staking product, anything that we can use, potentially re-share for you, quote, tweet, anything like that would be great. Also, keep your eye on the pin posts. We've started talking about those. Buzz has already covered one of those, the Q3 update we've talked about. We've also talked about being the largest validator, and there's 2 more up there that we are going to go over as well. So a couple more minutes to go. We'll still hang out here for about 20, 30 more minutes. But Buzz, hearing all that from Shima and stuff about what he's working on, is there anything on that list we missed from Q3 or that you guys want to cover together before we choose another post?
Well, I mean, there was so much done in Q3, right? I mean, Q3 also included our token actually going over to Shibarium. So I think that is often not talked about, and for many projects, like that can be their entire quarter. Is their token going live on a chain, or and things like that. So the product launch certainly took the spotlight of Q3, but even the validator getting live for the first time was in Q3. Like I said, our token going live on Shibarium. I think there was 3 different DEX launches on Shibarium as well. I think 4 or 5 different exchange launches were also included in Q3, and this is a 3-month period. So there's a lot that was baked into that quarter, and just like Shima said, very
last week we talked about, someone said you were dull though.
Oh yeah, I mean we've been dull since the product launched apparently.
Yeah, but this list seriously has got me out here with a microscope trying to figure out what we've done so that we can write posts about it and stuff. Can you believe that someone would say that in the face of that hard data?
Yeah, I mean, the reality is that there's certain people in crypto who buy a token, and the only thing they're ever going to ask for are exchange listings. And I mean, everyone's welcome in crypto communities, but it's definitely not the type of persona that I personally cater to. Like we're trying to build something that has long-standing value, and is going to be around a lot longer than myself or Shima or any individual who's a part of the product. Like truly believe that if you build a technology that can live there and stand on its own feet and be revenue generating, that it can last there forever. That's the beauty of smart contracts and Web3, and it can really serve a need within the community. And when it is revenue generating, and that's really what's going to drive the token and the product for the long term. And a really quick way to waste all of your money is to just pay for every exchange listing under the sun, and then pay for buybacks and all these other things that these people ask for. And yeah, I mean, go ask a business owner on the street, hey, why don't you show up to a store or your own store and just buy all of your own inventory, so that you're sold out, so that nobody else can come buy something. Like it's just it makes no logical sense when you actually talk about what some of these people are asking for.
Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the stock market, which I don't want to compare the K9 token to a stock market. I'm not doing that for any legal disclaimer there. Yeah, I think that's a really good analogy that Buzz made is yeah, if you did buy out your own inventory, you might be able to show better quarterly profits, and maybe your stock would go up if people didn't know that. So, but what are you doing? Are you just trying to basically create an exit for a certain holder? It's like, thank you so much for bankrupting your business so that I can exit now. And then what are you left with as a business owner? So sometimes the interests of increasing price do not reflect, oftentimes they're actually against each other, as the long-term value of a project. They can coincide, and when they do, that's beautiful. When you've done everything right, and your token moons because people are really speculating on the value of in comparison with your technology and everything that you've done to be sustainable. That's the dream, right? And so that's kind of the goal, I think, for K9 Finance, is not just to dump our entire treasury into a buyback so that people can get an exit, but I do want to mention that price increases are definitely, we want to see that. We want to work towards that, and we are. So I just want to emphasize that to anyone that's impatient in that capacity.
Sure, certainly not unaware of situations and stuff like that, but it just can't be something that you're bugging Buzz about under every post on X, thinking that's the best solution to increase the charts. That's what I should be doing with my time. This is what's going to bring the people. And let me go lambaste to the developer of the technology in a sub-comment thread.
What's sad about it is there are so many devs that believe so hard in their project, and they just want to make all the people that buy the token happy, and they literally throw their life savings into it. And I know that there's always that common thought that it's the devs that are rugging, which in some cases does happen, but you see those passionate devs that just throw everything behind their project. only to have people say thanks, sell, and leave, and then what are they left with? So, that's kind of an amateur move in cryptocurrency. I feel if you're a dev or you start a project or you start a business, and it's just unfortunate when that happens. But I've heard an expression in business, which is if two people go into a business meeting and one has experience and the other has money, the one with experience will leave with the money, kind of. So it's definitely important to take really good business practices and make sure you're working for sustainability as any token owner. So anyone here is listening that is running a token, definitely be patient and do what's right for the longevity of the project.
So last week, Buzz, I know Turtle's not here, you guys, and he sends his regards because he was not available to get here. He is traveling. We had mentioned that there was an upcoming roundtable meeting. That meeting has concluded, right?
Yeah, it was actually last night. Unfortunately, Turtle has not been or wasn't able to attend that meeting. So I actually stood in place of Turtle at that roundtable meeting, and there were 2 forum posts that were discussed in the meeting. So the first one was about Shibarium voting. Of course, if you've read the forum posts, the problem here is that there's a lot of tokens now that are locked or staked on Shibarium, and Snapshot does not support Shibarium. So a lot of those people who have tokens on Shibarium, they wouldn't be able to vote within the DAO. So there was a request for comment from the community that was posted in the forum, and many community members did post thoughtful comments, and the roundtable discussed them yesterday. And based on everything that was put there and the decisions of the roundtable, what was decided is that we're not going to be building our own voting solution or building anything specific, and also not going to be paying for a Snapshot integration on behalf of Shibarium. But unfortunately, for the time being, and we're going to be manually importing the Shibarium data to Snapshot in order to facilitate votes. So how will that look in practice? It will look at, say you're somebody who has 10 million tokens on Shibarium, whether or not they're not staked, or locked. When a vote happens, you will get 10 million voting shares or voting credits on Shibarium. So it'll directly match Ethereum. It'll directly match the amount of tokens you have on Shibarium in your Snapshot vote. So it'll work very seamlessly. But everything that Shima just discussed with the amount of work that he's been doing the nitty-gritty on with the data importing, that's really going to help speed this up. So I think it was last week I mentioned like it could take a couple days of Turtle's time to import all of this into Snapshot, but the legwork that's being done right now with this data set is going to make that infinitely easier. Not very easy, but we're going to get it done for the community to make sure that everyone is able to vote. The next thing that was discussed is this month was actually the last month of our approved DAO budget. So what was approved by the roundtable is a 1-month extension. And the reason for this requested extension was just that the product is still very young. We still do not have a great idea of what our foreseeable revenue can be as a DAO, because a lot of the data is impacted because we had a 2-day surge of so much activity. Like, you can't extrapolate 2 days of activity and say, hey, we're going to be making $1 million over the course of a year. That just wouldn't be wise. So we wanted some more time to analyze the activity on the platform, how much revenue the DAO is going to be receiving, and then put in a formal budget request to the DAO moving forward. The reason that the roundtable was able to facilitate a budget extension so easily is because the budget that was approved before was actually on a drawdown schedule, and there's a lot of room left in that drawdown schedule where the majority of the budget was actually not used. So there's a lot of flexibility, and kind of speaks towards a lot of the people working on behalf of the DAO just having being very creative and being able to save money and use money wisely, more importantly for the DAO. It's oftentimes in business when people have a budget to manage, they just want to spend it all. especially there's an ongoing meme in public services where if you don't spend it, you lose it, sort of budgetary analysis. And I think everyone who was in charge of the budget for it, whether it be marketing, ops, or development, did a great job in really spending the money as if it was their own for the DAO and saving a lot of money. But that was the second outcome. So there's a budget extension. And then the roundtable also did a very deep discussion on roadmaps. So how does a DAO actually decide what the next roadmap is? Because when you look at a lot of the competitors to K9, so projects like Lido or Stater or Marinade, they don't actually publish on their website, hey, here's what we're doing for the next 2 years. Typically, projects that have roadmaps are ones that are pre-product. It's, hey, we have nothing yet. We have a light paper, and this is what we are going to be doing for the next 1 to 2 years until we kind of reach our vision. But now that we're post-product, it was a very good discussion about how does a roadmap get developed, and what really came out of that conversation is that the mission of K9 is to bring DeFi to SHIB, and the core product that we're doing that with is liquid staking. So there's a lot of things that we can be working on to enhance that product, but there's also many things that we can add to an internal roadmap that are going to bring more volume back to Shibarium and bring more activity back to Shibarium and eyeballs on it too. So expect to see more of a work stream or updates on, hey, here's what we're working on now versus, hey, here's what we're going to be doing for the next 2 years. So it's just a little bit of a shift in mindset of like how a post-product DAO does a roadmap. It's more of a, here's what we're working on versus a, here's what you can see for the next 2 years, because trends change. We definitely don't want to be stuck in a roadmap, because for those who have been with us for a long time, the dates are very meaningful to us, and we're always delivering on time and want to make sure that anything that we are announcing is achievable.
So on the voting thing, I'm going to back up to that. When you talk about the work that's going in to be able to make sure Shibarium chain holders are represented, and remember, sometimes I'm Pulse Digital, sometimes I'm K9 Finance. Pulse Digital here, it doesn't sound ideal. It doesn't sound like that's the best solution. It sounds like it's a temporary stopgap, but it doesn't sound as transparent or as easy or any of those things. So is it safe to say that that is the case? Shima, I see you unmuted.
Yes. So in terms of transparency, I guess one of the benefits of making our BigQuery data sets publicly available is someone else can go back and do some analysis on what specific token balances were at a specific point in time without this stored in a structured database. If we had to be kind of using RPC calls to go back and calculate this data, it would be a massive computational task and even bigger headaches. So this is just sort of one good benefit and justification to, I guess, the work I've been doing, is that it'll make it easier for us to get this data. And it is very in line with kind of what a lot of earlier stage, less decentralized DAOs are doing. So, I'm kind of a decentralization crypto idealist and want everything to be at the furthest stage of decentralization and everything on chain. And I think we talked about a few weeks ago in one of the spaces how we sort of future-proofed all of our tokens to already have features built in to make that on-chain governance tracking easier. But in terms of, prioritizing our limited amount of time and resources and money, at least for the time being, having the data set in BigQuery and on Dune is going to allow us to extract token balances at a specific point in time and make sure everyone's token values are represented. And people are going to be able to go back and cross-reference that. So it'll be transparent and you can verify it, but again, you do have to trust that we didn't manipulate anything. I don't know if anyone's actually going to go back and be running queries and verifying things when we are uploading these token balances to Snapshot manually. So, kind of have to build quickly and be able to deliver. Like the worst case would just be not crediting anyone who has tokens on Shibarium. So we have to, do what is the quickest solution for making sure everyone gets credit for their DAO votes. And I think that is fundamentally the most important part. We want everyone's voice to be heard. We don't want to be penalizing people who are actually using the product and on Shibarium. So we're trying to just come up with the quickest solution for how we can make sure that we can credit your voice and credit your votes in our Snapshot votes in the fastest way. And this seems to be the best solution for now. But, in the long term, I would love to get an on-chain solution going, but there's just so many tasks at hand and so many things to prioritize that I think this is a good middle ground and a good next step for making sure that our DAO remains a DAO and everyone's voice gets to be heard.
No one's going to argue with your dedication to the decentralization of it. It's just interesting to see how it all rolls out, because it's an evolution of something that the problem eventually comes just from Snapshot and getting integrated there. So I'm excited, and we'll have you on again to talk about it. And this is cool stuff too. We'll follow up with Buzz. Anything else from that meeting that you want to go over before we switch up?
No, that was a great summary. I mean, as always, I believe that Turtle will post a meeting summary in the forum, and also reply to the specific forum posts what the outcome was with those. So there aren't going to be any active votes that kind of came out of that meeting. Part of that is just because we don't really feel comfortable doing votes until all of this data is ready, so that people who do have tokens that are locked or staked or on Shibarium can have their vote properly represented. So somebody who has their tokens locked for a year, I do firmly believe, and I think everyone else does as well, that person should certainly be able to vote on the future of what the DAO is going to be doing. So just kind of think that we need to get our ducks in a row there in order to have future votes be meaningful and have proper representation.
Two new exciting integrations this week for KN Bone on Shibarium, one with Mantra and one with Damn Soul Killer. Buzz, can you talk about that?
Yeah, Mantra, I believe they're the largest NFT marketplace on Shibarium. So I think you can now purchase NFTs on their platform with KN Bone. I think that's one of a few integrations that they're going to be doing. So that's exciting there. And Damn Token, I believe they have a liquidity pool now with KN Bone. So I believe that's on WoofSwap. And our integrations are growing week over week. More projects are seeing that they want to work with KN Bone, seeing that it can really be a leveraged play on Bone, where you can kind of have your cake and eat it too, and be earning on your Bone. So that's very exciting. What I would say for any projects who may have integrated already or made a liquidity pool, and the marketing people behind the Twitter account haven't got to yet putting a tweet out, is just that it's definitely coming. We can't kind of put out 10 tweets in one day that says integration, and the person behind the Twitter account definitely puts a lot of thought into which posts kind of go out on which day to spread out our content calendar. We did have one instance of an individual. I'm not sure if I should name the project or not, but I certainly got some angry DMs saying that I scammed him because he purchased, I think it was like $100 of KN Bone, which, by the way, the money does not go to K9 if you buy KN Bone. It doesn't work like that. But he purchased $100 and paired it with his token, and he didn't get his tweet yet. So he was very, very upset in my DMs on Telegram, and definitely don't want situations like that anymore. But at the same time, the K9 account tweeting about integrations is certainly about community growth and about spreading awareness to people who are part of the K9 community on where they can use their KN Bone. It's certainly not a tool where people can just start a coin, buy $100, make a pair, and get a tweet from K9. That's definitely not the spirit of this type of activation, and definitely just don't want to be working with people like that anyways. And I'm not going to publicly say what his project is or anything like that, but we definitely want people who are going to want to be using KN-Bone and making integrations because they believe in liquid staking. And the K9 account needs to be educating what people can safely be using their KN-Bone on. So that's kind of all I got to say there about the integrations.
Big integrations, and we appreciate anybody that's wanting to reach out to get those things figured out. If you haven't figured out yet how to integrate your pair or your project with KN-Bone, that is something that you could join the Telegram and get connected with the right people to do that. We're always looking for additional partners and being able to be compatible with all the different products. It's a big deal. So thanks if you get a chance to do that. The last thing that I saved for the end, because I know Funk is dying to get there. There's a blurry thing in everybody's mind, Funk, and you've made it clear over time. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, sitting here, starting to feel a little dejected and sad that I wasn't going to get a chance to talk about it. The time was coming to an end, and but now I'm excited again. Let's go.
What's BarkBot?
Okay, so everyone has traded on a decentralized exchange, right? Everyone here has gone to Uniswap. Maybe there's some people listening in that just, I don't know, they bought on a centralized exchange, some token maybe came in or something like that, but everyone needs to trade somehow, and a big kind of revelation that's kind of been happening within the crypto space when it comes to utilities is the integration of them into Telegram. So Telegram has a lot of developer tools, particularly overseas. There's actually like limitations for US customers using their like developer platform and things like that, but that's neither here nor there. So basically CoinMerge Technologies and K9 have partnered up to basically build a bot that allows for Telegram trading of decentralized assets. So it's cross-chain, and what it's going to basically do is allow a user in Telegram to buy, sell, and trade their cryptocurrencies. It's both custodial and non-custodial, which means you can create your very own wallet or through our system and send funds to it, or you can import the wallet that you prefer to trade with on MetaMask, so you don't even need to do that. It's just varying user experiences for varying levels of trust. So those are kind of the major features that are there on V1. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that we are just waiting to announce. In fact, I even just gave some alpha there, and I don't know what Buzz is comfortable speaking to or not, but ultimately this is going to bring some massive value back to the K9 DAO and the K9 token, and the ways in which that will be done, I'll let Buzz reveal in alpha as he sees fit when he's comfortable revealing those things. Of course, it's still in the development process. It's being uploaded to the clouds now, and it's well tested at this point, but there's still some work to do. So no promises on timelines on it. But yeah, really excited about this utility. It's cross-chain, which means that you're going to be able to trade on any EVM chain that CoinMerge Technologies data provider, Web3 Shards, basically uses. So that's going to be like Matic, Shibarium, Base Chain, Ethereum, but we're going to be adding non-EVM very soon as well, which means Solana. So a major competitor to what the bot that we're building is BonkBot. Anyone who's heard of BonkBot, it's primarily, I think it's only a Solana trading bot, and it allowed people to trade on Solana right from Telegram, and that's a top like 60 token. Bonk token is like a top 100 utility. It's absolutely massive. I think it's generated billions in fees. So the high end of what this product could be is really, really exciting to me, and the collaboration between my company, CoinMerge Technologies, I'm not the CEO, but you get the point. I'm a shareholder there, and K9 Finance, this is a really good synergy that's going to benefit both communities very, very greatly.
And just briefly for everybody listening, let's assume that they don't know, CoinMerge has been around for a minute. You guys have been around for like 3 years building different software. This isn't just the first thing you've done, right?
No, and technically this bot it wouldn't be possible without the work that we've already done and it also wouldn't be scalable and affordable because we'd be buying third-party API, third-party data, servers of our own. There'd be so much work, but we had the foundation to build this, and we actually had it in the CoinMerge roadmap, but we got, basically we figured that with K9 Finance and being able to bring a lot of that value back to Shibarium, there was a really good synergy that could happen between the two organizations. And obviously, we've been around for 3.5 years. We have proven tech, proven utilities, revenue generating utilities, a good reputation for delivering that stuff. So, very thankful for the management council and everyone else to say let's see if this can work and putting their trust in us as well. So Web3 Shards is what has fueled this, our own data provider. And we also have one other thing to mention is that this bot, BarkBot, is going to be integrated in CoinMerge Technologies BuyBot. So if you're in the K9 main Telegram, you'll see these buy notifications from CoinRanker BuyBot, and there's a buy link there, and it'll take you to Uniswap, or if it's on a different chain, it'll take you to whatever the leading DEX is that has that token on it. Well, what if instead when you click that buy link, it takes you to BarkBot? And so our BuyBot is in over 2,500 telegrams now, and in counting. We get 3 to 4 to 5 new installs a day, and continuing to grow and trend. So while we're marketing our own BuyBot from CoinMerge Technology side, we're going to be pushing BarkBot forward simultaneously, bringing more value to that product. And like I said, when Buzz and everyone in the team is ready, they'll reveal exactly specifically how it's going to benefit you, how it's going to benefit K9 and everything else. But based on some of the things that have been talked about behind the scenes, I'm very excited. And I think that as it unfolds, the community will be equally excited that there's something else that could potentially bring value back to this ecosystem that's cross-chain already, and outside of just, for example, Bone or K9 Holding.
A palpable sense of excitement from Funk related to BarkBot. You guys waited for that thing to be revealed over the course of a couple of weeks, and I hope you are happy with the reveal. Stay tuned. Make sure you're following Funk on X. Make sure you're following CoinMerge separately, and make sure you're following the K9 account so that you get all those updates as it comes out, because you're going to want to be one of the early ones. I might guess that being in the whale group might be a good idea. I know I've mentioned that once, and Funk hasn't told me this, but I would wager that you would want to be in the K9 whale group to maybe see or hear things early. So check that out. And I do have time here at the end. I know normally we wrap up hard at the hour, but I could not go today without a little slice of Buzz's corner. So Buzz, I got a little extra time. Do you have a corner set aside for us today? I'd love to hear what's been on your mind since last week.
I was just going to talk about the wish list that I kind of put together, but happy to take it in any direction.
No, if you know the rule. You know the rule. If that's what comes out your mouth, that's where we're at.
All right, sounds good. I mean, I'm sure that Shima probably has some comments on this as well, but I kind of put together a wish list of sorts of things that I wish were integrated into Shibarium. So I know that Shima, myself, and Turtle talk about this quite a bit, but it's like, what are the key missing pieces other than K9 to really get more traders, get more users, and get more degens over to Shibarium? And of course, the popular answer is always, we need more meme coins. But I mean, we've seen people try to launch meme coins and whatnot on Shibarium, but my thesis is that there are certain things that come before that that you really, really need to be building up liquidity and building up activity on a chain. And what this really boiled down to when we were discussing it is that stablecoin markets are going to be very important. I mean, I know that the SHI token, I'm not actually sure if it's pronounced SHI or SHI, S-H-I. If somebody could correct me there, that'd be appreciated. I know that's on the roadmap of the SHIB team, but also very excited for the opportunity of potentially having like USDT, USDC, and different deep liquidity markets there. And actually very bullish on the Hummingbot connector that we've built, because if you look at how liquidity providers operate, like why somebody would be adding a lot of stablecoin liquidity or ETH liquidity or whatever token it may be onto a chain, it's because that they can actually arbitrage that pair. and they can arbitrage it back to deep liquidity on Curve or other markets that have deep liquidity on Uniswap or anything like that. So the Hummingbot connector, and that vote is still going through with the Hummingbot DAO right now. We forgot to kind of update them about that on the spaces, but what that connector will allow is like any arbitrager or user out there can connect Shibarium into their stack, so they can start to put liquidity on Shibarium, or anybody can do that. Those pools can start to be arbitraged against deeper depths of liquidity, which is great. So I'm hoping that some people can make use of that Hummingbot connector and start to bring deep stablecoin liquidity to Shibarium. That would be great. I know that a native Dune Analytics integration would be awesome, but it'll be less needed after all the data work that Shima's been doing here. Bridging options we definitely could use more of. I know Jumper is an integration that I'd really love to see. It's these bridge aggregators. Shima, I'm not sure if you have any others off the top of your head that would be really valuable to have them support Shibarium, because like a lot of people will just go to their specific bridge aggregator or something like that when they're trying to figure out how to get different places, and they could be unlikely to actually go to the direct website to figure out how to bridge. The Chainlink integration would be awesome as well. Shima, I was talking about this in our whale chat the other day, but I was estimating that probably about 80 to 90% of the submissions in the hackathon at ETH Toronto used some sort of Chainlink integration, which most or all of them are unsupported by Shibarium right now. So that's Chainlink integration would be awesome. Hopefully there are community members out there who are thinking about doing that BD legwork to potentially get that integrated. And then of course, two things that we've been talking about for a long time that are natural community progressions to liquid staking, and that's lending and borrowing and perpetuals. So think about being able to borrow KN Bone or borrow Bone to be used in some of these different liquidity pairs or farms, and also perps. So perps is perpetuals, stands for perpetuals. So on an exchange, it's those things where you can take leverage in a trade. So you can do a 10x leverage trade on Bitcoin, for example. So products like GMX have really popularized having this on-chain perpetual integrations. So would love to see something like that on Shibarium as well. So the wish list, a lot of people thought it was a to-do list that we made for ourselves, but it was really like a call to action to the community. Like what other cool things are people working on? And if I had the time to be building other cool, great things for Shibarium, these are kind of like the areas where I would put my attention towards. So I'm hoping that sparks some interest in some builders, or even if you're not a builder, like maybe you're somebody who's great at business development and reaching out to some of these companies to figure out their BD process and the process required to have those integrations would be immensely helpful for the chain as well.
Yeah, I could add really quick here. You can't have a meme coin economy if you don't have a spot for people to take profits. So that's why I think stable coins and somewhere where people can actually go and park their profits is one of the most important things. It comes before being able to build a meme coin economy. And for anyone who's unfamiliar with what Hummingbot is, it's the biggest open source, basically, bot building platform. So anyone who likes to do arbitrage trading, they love to build with Hummingbot. So having this connector for Shibarium is going to let a lot of experienced arbitrage traders to build strategies and take advantage of slight price differences on the Shibarium chain. So beyond just getting a tweet from the K9 Twitter account, one of the best reasons that you would want to pair your token with KN Bone is because KN Bone is, after Bone, basically, I'm sorry if I'm not quite right, but I think it's the second biggest TVL on Shibarium. So there's a ton of KN Bone. So if you split your liquidity for your token across two different sources, one of them being paired with K and Bone, then when the price moves on one, that means there's opportunity for someone who's running a Hummingbot strategy to buy or sell on that other pair, and they'll make a little money, and that's going to drive volume to your token. So pairing with K and Bone can bring you a lot of value, especially with the upcoming Hummingbot integrations and having more bots working on chain, because it's going to drive more volume to your token, and that's just going to look great. And if you have a tax token, you're going to get tax revenue, but volume is one of the most important things that people get excited about. Like, are people actually trading this token? Before I get involved in a token, I want to make sure that it has consistent daily volume. It's not just a dead project that no one's actually caring about. So there's a lot of good reasons to be pairing with K and Bone, with the opening up opportunities to arbitrage intentionally. So I think, focusing on stable coins and arbitrage is kind of like two very overlooked pieces that drive DeFi and are really important for success on a chain. So I think, this wish list, and also when we're talking about future roadmaps and where we want to be prioritizing and building partnerships with other teams, even if we're not building stuff, but helping support people who are building things. Our mission, as Buzz said earlier, is basically bring DeFi to Shibarium. So we really want to help encourage that. And we're really looking at what are the core foundations that are required to have a successful DeFi economy on a chain. So we're really excited, and call to action, reach out to us, ask questions about how you can get involved in the Shibarium ecosystem. And we're excited. This chain has so much potential that we're just excited to see what comes up over the next year or two.
Thank you, Shima. That's such a great little sound clip too at the end for everybody that's listening. We're looking for builders, man. Buzz, I appreciate you taking the time to break down the corner. Your wish list is super important to me. Christmas is coming up. I'm going to remanufacture that into a little Santa's letter. I'm going to do it in crayon, and I'm going to have it written out and be like, "Dear Santa." Now I'll figure out a way. We're going to keep running with that. And I'm going to make a goal, just like they do the thermometers when they're trying to raise money, to slowly cross the things off Buzz's Christmas list. So I'm going to keep working on that. That'll be my promise from here to there. I think that'd be fun. In the meantime, we were a little bit past the hour. We stayed a little bit late, a little overtime. I hope you guys don't mind, because I had a little extra time today. We don't always get to do it, but we did run it a little long today. I wanted to give Funk his time. I love that he was waiting till the end. You guys don't know how excited he is to talk about BarkBot. Funk, I'm so excited for you because I know you're super pent up about it. And Shima and Buzz just got to do a little bit. Before we go, Funk, final thoughts for the week. What can we all do to help you out until next time?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, just want to say shout out to Shima and Buzz for the excellent content knowledge and deep knowledge there. But the fact remains, guys, it's very, very simple. It's to get people excited about the K9 and Bone rewards. So if someone has Bone and they don't know about the APRs, be like, hey, this is the current APR. Obviously let them know it's subject to change, but what are you doing with your Bone? Why is it just sitting in your wallet? Let's get it paired with K9 Bone. Obviously, let them know the associated risks, and you can find that in the official documentation. So not advising anyone to push people to do something that they're not fully knowledgeable about, but you get the idea. Education is absolutely free, and you can do that for people. So if you know someone, big holder of Bone, be like, this is how easy it is. This is how you can do it. The other element that we haven't been talking about as much, because we've been really focused on growing the Bone pool, the K9 Bone pool, is the actual K9 token itself. So I don't know if you guys know this, but right now, if you lock your K9 for 12 months, the APR is better than it is for just Bone. So there's still a large opportunity for people to get APR from their K9, and actually it's even a simpler process than the Bone delegation itself. So, K9's at a pretty low price, as is the whole rest of the market. So, nothing personal that's not bullish about K9, but guys, there's a really solid APR that exists there too. Of course, not financial advice, make your own decisions, but I definitely think moving forward, we're going to be trying to bring more attention to the fact that getting K9 and staking it for 12 months is the best APR you can get on Bone Crusher currently under the current metrics.
Appreciate you, Funk, and appreciate all the things that you're doing to keep the word out there. Buzz, I've got to give you fair warning because this is week 38 and we're in the middle of October. Things are going to get spooky from here on out. I'm obligated to do Halloween themes. I hope you're okay with voices and spooky titles and stuff like that. I'm totally going to do it. It's going to be a thriller if you're going to indulge me, because we got a couple of weeks and then we run into these thematic seasons. I love holidays and cryptos. Not my first time through the rodeo here. So Halloween's coming up, you guys. I need spooky canine memes. If you make something that I can use to post from the main account, I'm here for it, you guys. If you can do something for me related to these X spaces or something like that that's spooky, I will use it for our posts. Please help me as we roll into spooky season with Canine, because I got a couple more shows to go, and me and Buzz and the boys are going to roll up in here and do it again. And next time we'll bring Turtle back. I think we did okay without him, Buzz, but without Turtle here, it just didn't feel the same. Remember, one more time, forum.k9finance.com. Even though he's not here, doesn't mean you can't sign up today and join the forums. Buzz, before we get out of here, final thoughts, my guy.
You usually come to me last. Final thoughts would probably just echo Funk's sentiment there. Like one thing that we've really noticed in crunching the data is that our whales and our community, and we've had an inside look at this, are seriously buying a lot of bone right now, because they've heard the message that hey, the canine system works very well when you're injecting more bone, and the more bone that's injected, the better for Shibarium. And our whales have really taken it upon themselves. Like we see it in some of the data that we're analyzing, and Shima's been looking at, and Turtle's been looking at, and the overlap and accumulation of our holders versus bone accumulation. And I think that's great for the entire economy of Shibarium. But one thing we really need to start to do as a community is think about, how do we bring in one other bone holder? Like how do we start to bring in one other person each day that maybe already has bone, and educate them about what this is? Because our community, we can't do it all. We can't be the ones buying canine and also buying bone, but we can really work together to figure out and devise strategies of how do we reach more people, and how do we do it together, and figure out content plans. And that's certainly what our marketing team is going to be focused on here in the next couple of weeks, is doing some outreach to external bone holders that are not in our community.
I can appreciate that. And we look forward to hearing about it again. 7 days from now, you guys are already following this account. You probably already have notifications turned on. We'll get the link out to you, and we'll meet here again next Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for another community gathering. The best community spaces on X, the K9 Finance weekly DAO update spaces with Pulse Digital up here hosting with Buzz and Funk and Shima this week. We appreciate you guys, all the listeners that came through, every one of you that left a comment down there, everyone in the Telegram that's been chatting along. Thanks, guys, and we're going to see you next week on the K9 Finance weekly DAO update spaces. We appreciate you. Have a great day.